you now to Lucas Oil Stadium, the starting lineups for tonight's national championship.
Welcome to the show. Here we go.
And it's Butler again. He's everywhere.
Let's bring it home. Baylor's back, baby. Time is now. I came here to win. It's game time. Game time. Game time.
That's as impressive as it gets. Baylor advances to the championship game.
We're playing right there, baby. Yeah, I came here to win.
Starting tonight for Baylor University. At forward, a 6'10 junior from Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, number 0, Flo Thamba. At forward, a 6'5 senior from Lake Charles, Louisiana, number 11, Mark Vital. Guard, a 6'3 junior from Reserve, Louisiana, number 12, Jared Butler. At guard, a 6'4 senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, number 31, Maceo Teague. And at guard, a 6'2 junior from Hinesville, Georgia, number 45, Davion Mitchell. Looking for their first national championship in school history. Here are the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Let's do this.
This is Gonzaga basketball right here.
Bring it home.
Suns for the win. Oh, yes. Unbelievable. Perfect season remains on go.
There are onions, Jim, and then there are major onions with a kiss.
Oh, my goodness. One of the great games in Final Four history. Starting tonight for Gonzaga. At forward, a 6'10 sophomore from Richardson, Texas, number 2, Drew Timme. At forward, a 6'7 senior from Edmonds, Washington, number 24, Corey Kispert. At guard, a 6'4 freshman from West St. Paul, Minnesota, number 1, Jalen Suggs. At guard, a 6'5 junior from Aurora, Ontario, number 3, Andrew Nimhard. And at guard, a 6'5 junior from Bordeaux, France, number 11, Joel Ayagi. And introducing the head coaches for Baylor in his 18th season for the Bears, coaching his 25th NCAA tournament game, Scott Drew. For Gonzaga in his 22nd season for the Bulldogs, coaching his 57th NCAA tournament game, Mark Few.
All right, there you have it, the starting lineups. The two coaches, amazing. Scott Drew in his 18th season with the Bears. Mark Few, 22nd. Now, we have to update this, of course. In the 32-person TSN pool, it all comes down to Jack and the one and only Mark Masters.
Wow.
And here's the thing, Jack. If Baylor wins, you outright win. If the Zags win, it is Masters time.
Wow. I tell you, this is a big moment in my life. That and $3 gets me on a subway, right?
Am I getting anything?
No,
I think I'm going to get, not only am I getting this,
we have nothing for you.
I'm going to get paper towel as well. Like, this is just a big moment in my life right here. So
I legit, no, and as I said earlier, those are hot commodities in COVID. So
maybe even a bottle of water.
I don't know why you're complaining. We tried to get you a crown, and the response is, no, it's COVID. We can't share things anymore. So I promise you, in 2022, I will buy you something nice. Jack, we've done all this time talking about the Zags, and rightly so, because they are on the brink of perfection in history. But on the flip side, the Baylor Bears, I mean, they have more than a legitimate shot of winning this game tonight. We've been speaking about it all tournament long. The backcourt of Butler, Teague, and Mitchell, they have been outstanding, and we expect no less tonight.
Well, Jared Butler and Mitchell, Davion Mitchell, they're the ones in particular. Teague as well, playmaking, shot making. But those guys are the essential elements when you watch Baylor play. I mean, they just get it done. I mean, Butler in the last game, 17 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, made 4 threes. And then Mitchell's just playmaking, 11 assists in the game against Houston. And then Teague is a real good shot maker. I just love the fact that they're aggressive. This is a team that shoots over 40% from three-point range, and they really look to drive it into the lane. They really look to get you to help, and then they get the ball moving. And they put on a clinic on Saturday afternoon against Houston. And Gonzaga is going to have to do a great job defending on the perimeter. That's going to be the key thing, and get back quickly in transition.
41% from deep,
wow.
But Gonzaga on the flip side, the most efficient offense in the country. Here we go. The national title game. Sean McDonough, Dick Vitale.
Keith Kimball are the officials, and Baylor in green controlled the tip.
A couple of keys in this game. Number one, watch Baylor was shooting the three. They were so effective against Houston.
They're the best three-point shooting team in the country, 41.2%. Davion Mitchell passed it off to Mark Vital. He missed a shorty, got his own rebound, missed another, and got it again.
3 opportunities. That's not going to work. They're going to do a better job on the glass, Gonzaga.
And it's Davion Mitchell with the 3. That's another strength, Dick, of Baylor. Offensive rebound. They rebound 37% of their misses, and that is 6th best in the country for offensive rebounding percentage.
You're right about that, Sean. Give them 3 opportunities. They finally convert and score on Mitchell's jump shot.
Suggs hoisted a long 3. It wouldn't go. Now Mitchell, a transfer from Auburn. Played 1 year there. 2nd year playing now for Baylor. They are 53-6 in the 2 seasons that Mitchell's been playing for them. Maceo Teague, another transfer from UNC Asheville. Tough fadeaway. Vital fought his own man Famba for the rebound.
Oh, nice pass by Vital. Great cut without the ball. Again, the offensive rebound, just as you documented here, Sean, has been so vital.
And then an offensive foul at the other end. As Davion Mitchell, the National Defensive Player of the Year, stands in to take the charge.
He does a great job. They got 3 guys that really are as good as can be. There's the charge right there. Mitchell right there, out of control. Suggs. Watch Vital rebound. Great pass by Vital. You know, he's one of those guys, Sean. He's not going to get a lot of publicity, but all he does is help you win.
Not a big scorer, but does everything else, setting a screen there to free up Mitchell. And what a start for the Baylor Bears.
Incredible. That's the way to jump out, man. When you're the underdog, they're a 4-point underdog. Don't tell them that.
And they have been getting out to quick leads in this tournament. Corey Kispert, no. Out of bounds. Last touch by Davion Mitchell. Scott Drew didn't like the call and runs down the sideline to protest.
Take a look right here, boy. They can shoot that 3. There's the big screen. He's wide open. He knocks it down. You know, the biggest deficit to UCLA was 6 points. They're down 7.
But Gonzaga can score and score quickly, averaging more than per game. That's a turnover. Thrown away by Andrew Nembhard. And a shaky start for Mark Few and the Bulldogs. They're averaging 91.6 points per game, 55% team for the year, both leading the country. They can get back on the heels of the Bears in a blink of an eye, but the deficit grows as Jared Butler, the player of the year in the big unanimous All-American, makes it 9.
Tremendous drive by Butler right there, under control.
Suggs blocked by Maceo Teagan. Last touch by. What a start for Baylor, up 9-0.
What a great change right there. Direction, the way to attack the basket. Butler goes to the goal really strong.
Jared Butler had shoot and score through the first 4 games of this slump with 17 points against Houston. All of them were in the first half when they built that 25-point half. Going to be a Suggs foul on a reach-in. They led by 25, did Baylor at the half. Houston, they built an 18-point lead early in their Elite 8 win against Arkansas. They come out of the gates ready to go, and a problem for Gonzaga. 2 quick fouls on Suggs.
It's a great start. If you're a Baylor fan right now, you got to be excited.
Anton Cook has come in, number 4, to replace Suggs. Mitchell, Vital in line. Famba missed a short. He got his own rebound. They are pounding the offensive glass.
They're pounding the glass, Sean. They're really dominating him on the glass.
Offensive rebounds already in less than 4 minutes. High arcing layup wouldn't go for Mitchell. Gonzaga great in transition. And Nembhard fouled, and he'll go to the line with a chance to get the Zags on the board nearly 4 minutes in.
You know, Sean, one of the things me about Gonzaga, they lead the nation in assists. 18 assists per game. That means they're in the basketball looking for the open guy. They've got themselves a bad start. But this club is too talented not to battle back.
First free throw.
0 for 3 right now with 2 turnovers.
Are the Zags. Saw number 23 for Baylor, Jonathan Chamwa Chachua, sophomore from Cameroon, the early sub. He splits time at the 5 spot with Famba, but he has minutes per game, about 4 more minutes per game. So Nembhard has the Zags on the board. It's 9-1.
That physical presence, he's very tenacious, plays everyday job, comes to play every day.
Mitchell, nice pull-up, and he scores over Aaron Cook. Adam Flagler's also come in for Coach Drew, number 10 for Baylor. Good 3-point shooter. Gonzaga essentially a 7-man operation. Really the only subs who play are Cook and Anton Watson. They played only 7 in that overtime game against UCLA. And the pass batted out of bounds by Chamwa Chachua. It'll be 5 to shoot for Gonzaga when we come back.
Take a look at Mitchell.
The Baylor Bears, 5 out of 10 shooting to open the game. They lead 11-1. Standing Baylor guards, and what a start for Davion Mitchell. He has 7. Jared Butler with 4. They have all of the Baylor points as they built an 11-1 lead over Gonzaga. Just 5 to shoot for the Zags. Corey Kispert for 3.
That's a big 3. They need a little momentum somehow. And that certainly could give them a little momentum right there, Sean.
That is Kispert's 27th 3-point field goal in NCAA tournament games. And the other end, it's Chamwa Chachua. A nice roll to the bucket.
Too easy.
With that 3, Kispert has tied Kevin Pangos' record for career 3s in NCAA tournament play for Gonzaga. Pangos made 27 for the Bulldogs.
Tell you what, they really guarded really tough on Timmy on the inside, keeping the ball away. Look at Chamwa Chachua. He is trying to beat him to the spot, denying him the ball. He hasn't taken a shot yet.
Joel Ayayi, nice move to the bucket, had an open shot. Missed it short with the left hand. Butler for three.
Wow. Wow. What a start, Sean. What a start. Take a look right here. Two-man play. There's Chachua going to the goal. Scores. Two-man play. And then Mr. Butler says, anything you can do, buddy, I can do better. There's the trifecta. Nothing but nylon.
Comedy Home Economics, Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain, only on CTV.
BYU in their conference championship game on March 9th in Las Vegas. Obviously, they rallied to win that game, won by 10, as a matter of fact. They get it to Timmy, and he lays it in. First shot for Drew Timmy goes in. He's their leading scorer for the year at 19.2 per game off a 25-point effort against UCLA.
Tell you one thing, Sean, he shoots 65% from the field.
Flagler fouled. Good foul by Kispert. He'll make Flagler earn it at the free throw line. First on Kispert.
Little screen and roll and get the ball inside of Timmy, and Timmy so good around the basket. I'll tell you a point that's really interesting when you think about this game right here. UCLA got a lot of open shots, Sean. They got a lot of open shots by moving the ball, player movement. If they get open shots, Baylor's going to convert them. They can shoot the basketball. They got to do a much better job defensively, Gonzaga, than what we witnessed thus far in this game.
Adam Flagler's now made 14 straight free throws. Call it 15 in a row for the sophomore from Duluth, Georgia, who transferred in from Presbyterian. Timmy harassed by Chomwa Chachua, who forced the turnover. Mitchell to the bucket. Good hands by Nembhard to throw that off. It's Flagler for three.
Hey, Sean, their bench is stronger than Gonzaga. When they go to the bench, they come with Flagler, Meyer, and Chomwa Chachua. Three really quality players who could start at most schools.
Well, here's the biggest deficit Gonzaga has faced all season long. Nembhard, transfer from the University of Florida, hits the fadeaway. And Dick, one of the big questions, and Mark Few was asked yesterday at his press briefing, how do you get your team in less than 48 hours to put the dramatic win against UCLA behind them and get physically and mentally ready to go? They don't look ready to go, and Baylor couldn't be sharper. Chomwa Chachua from Matt Meyer.
Two guys off the bench, wide open layups. Sean, you could have made that. I know I could have made it. I'll tell you right now, an open layup like that, nobody guarded anybody. I think they're shell-shocked right now.
You wonder if Mark Few considered putting Suggs back in. With the two fouls, Aaron Cook, an errant pass intended for Timmy. Matthew Meyer, the handoff. Chomwa Chachua short. And Kispert rebounded. They like to score in transition. 35% of Gonzaga's shots are in transition. Most in the nation, highest percentage. And Scott Drew said job one, stopping transition. They've done it tonight. And Timmy lost the ball.
You're right about that. They've done a terrific job making them play 5-on-5. You haven't seen 3-on-2s, 2-on-1s. Baylor doing a great job getting back defensively.
Baylor averages 9 steals per game, number 9 in the country. Nice block by Timmy. Off the drive by Davion Mitchell. And a good pass by Cook to Nembhard. And he's fouled by Chomwa Chachua. Baylor fans didn't think so.
He's making him go to the free throw line. He's making him go to the line. Good defensive effort right there. Put him on the line.
Trying to win its first national championship in men's basketball. Game only once before. That was way back in 1948. Coach Bill Henry. Bears lost to Kentucky 58-42 in New York City. The only longer gap between championship games. 74 years for Wisconsin in 2015 when they lost to Duke in the title game. Andrew Nembhard shooting 2. And he makes the first. He's 70% from the line.
You made a good point earlier, Sean, when you talked about Suggs. When he reached the point that you decide to play Suggs.
There he is, back in the game. And he's really their backup front court player. Watson wears 22 in white for Gonzaga University from Spokane, Washington. Small Catholic university of about 53 undergrads. Baylor Bears from Waco, Texas. Also Baptist institution with about 20,000 students. Bad pass by Flagler, and it leads to a held ball and to Gonzaga.
I think good move right there. Get in. Certainly Suggs. Mark Few's definitely headed to the Hall of Fame, no doubt about it. What he's done with this program, 22 straight years in the tournament. He's done a leader of the Zags.
Conference Coach of the Year. He's the Naismith National Coach of the Year for the second time. And he's won 83.5% of his games as head coach at Gonzaga. Corey Kispert had it blocked out of bounds by Flo Thamba.
Did a great job rotating over defensively. Look at Thamba. There he is from the help side with the great block. Likes it. Gives a little jubilant yell.
Boy, beautiful inbounding play. Suggs, who missed the short shot. Another attempt for three, and another three made by Jared Butler.
Wide open. Can't leave these guys wide open like that, Sean. The #1 3-point shooting team in America, as you said earlier.
At 41-4, which would also be the best 3-point shooting season in Baylor history. So Butler has now made 6 of his last 7 from beyond the arc after he was 25% from behind the line in their first 4 tournament games.
They got multiple guys that can shoot the 3. They got 4 perimeter guys that can make the 3. 5 if you factor in Meyer.
I mean, 11 threes in the win. Boy, great effort on both sides. And this held ball will give it back to Baylor. Drew Timme looks winded.
He looks a little tired. He really does. Look a little physical right there. I agree with you.
It was such a grueling game in every way for them against UCLA. Baylor basically cruised against Houston, so you would think Baylor would be the fresher team. They look like it so far.
And especially
taking 10 more shots than
guys.
Gonzaga because of the rebounding and the turnovers. Maceo Teague, they're 5 for 5 from 3.
I'll tell you one thing, I know the scouting report told them they can shoot the 3, but those multiple guys can make the 3. If you leave them open, they're getting open looks.
A 19-point lead, now 17, as Drew Timme scores.
Tell you one thing, if I'm Baylor right now, whoever Suggs is guarding, I'm attacking. I'm trying to get the 3rd foul on him. I would attack him every time he's guarding someone.
He's guarding Maceo Teague right now. Here's Teague. Nembhard switched on to him. Now Timme, the big man, moves out on the guard. They need a shot. Shot clock at 1. And it's out of bounds. Last touch by Timme. Drew Timme's wondering if he has a bloody nose. He keeps raising that hand up to his nose. Butler returns. Just a brief breather.
Baylor's 5 for 5. Sean shooting 3s. Gonzaga has 4 field goals for the whole game.
It looks like Timme cut his tongue. A little blood inside his mouth. Excellent defense. And now a foul called. Watson apparently called for knocking down Jared Butler. He didn't like the call, nor does Zag Nation.
Well, as soon as you put the hand there, the whistle's going to be blown. I mean, that's obvious.
First foul on Watson. 4th on the team. And Butler's three wouldn't go, and there's an illegal screen being called against Flo Thamba of Baylor, and that'll give the ball back to Gonzaga.
He was moving. You're not allowed to move people out there. He's moving, setting up that screen. There it is, an illegal screen. No doubt about it. Good call.
Timmy. Watson tried to keep it alive, could not. He was blocked out by Vital, who runs hard to the rim. Instead, it's a three. Their first miss. Butler misses from three-point range. Nice dish. Suggs off to Timmy.
What a combination. When they're really effective with each other, it's a dynamite duo. I mean, they really are some tandem together, Suggs and Timmy.
Timmy has 6. He has scored at least 22 in each of their last 4 games. Teague banks home the runner.
So many weapons they possess.
And now bodies tangle, and it's going to be a moving screen the other way. Timmy called for discarding Flo Thamba.
He's in for a battle today. Any points he gets, he's going to earn today big time.
Now stopping transition number 1, said Scott Drew, but also dealing with Timmy. Said they double him from time to time, which is dangerous when you leave these Gonzaga shooters. They try to front Timmy. They've done that effectively so far tonight. Butler 4-3. And Baylor attacks the offensive glass, and there's a foul called. And takes us to immediate timeout. Foul on Chamwa Chachua. Of the early action here in this national championship game. Bears want more of the same. Frustration for Gonzaga. The defense of Scott Drew carrying the day, as Gonzaga has more turnovers, 7, than they have made baskets. They've shot 5 for 12 against the Baylor Bear defense. Already 4 steals. Gonzaga, 7 turnovers. They average only 12 per game for the year.
Exactly, right now. And that's really one of the strengths of Baylor. They force a lot of turnovers throughout the year, and they're doing it here right now in this game against Gonzaga.
Yeah, they force 17 really turnovers per game, 9th in the country. Jalen Suggs lost the ball. Clean strip, apparently. And it's Maceo Teague. And it's a goaltending call. Count the bucket for Maceo Teague.
They really look sluggish. I'll tell you one thing. You look at Gonzaga, they really look sluggish, Sean. They are struggling in every suit of the game. Whether you talk defense, offense, no doubt about it. Excellent call.
And the lead 19 for Baylor. Now you wonder if there's just the lingering effects of that dramatic, emotional, physically grueling game that Gonzaga played against UCLA, one of the great Final Four games of all time. They don't look like the team we've seen all year long go out to 31-0. And of course, a lot of that, Dick, has to do with the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. The way Baylor's been playing. Baylor's been absolutely sensational. Their bench has really been positive. They've really moved the ball. They're getting open looks, and they're defending. They're doing everything you want a team to do.
Matthew Meyer missed a 3 on the closeout by Kispert. The last foul was on Mitchell. His first. Jalen Suggs, the shot waved off. Foul outside. Borowski the call. Well, Dick, Scott Drew said, I really think we could have had 2 undefeated teams here if his team didn't have the 3-week COVID pause in February. They returned with a win against Iowa State, but they were still out of shape. Lost to Kansas. That was the first of 6 games in 14 days. They lost to Oklahoma State in that stretch. But the week before the NCAA tournament gave them time to practice, something that they couldn't do. He said they got their defensive rotations back. Boy, has that been the case here tonight as Suggs made the first free throw.
Well, it's happened to a great guy, man. He took over that program he documented earlier. Depths of despair. His first 4 years was so tough, but he believed so much in the school, and he's carried him on his back. He's done an incredible job since taking over.
18th year at Baylor for Scott Drew.
They're in a zone right now. You're going to see Gonzaga into a zone. Very rarely they play zone.
Tried to throw a lob to Vital. It didn't connect the first time, but he got it back and scored.
He's a great glue man. He gets on the glass. He defends. I mean, that team really looks sloppy when you look at Gonzaga. And I really, we can keep talking about it was tough against UCLA. Bottom line is, I think the point you made, let's give credit when credit's due. Baylor's playing a terrific first half.
Timmy the bucket. We approach 6 minutes to go in the half. These two teams were supposed to play exactly 4 months ago today, December 5th. The floater wouldn't go, and there's a foul on the rebounding action against Gonzaga. That game was to be played in Indianapolis, not in this facility, but at the home of the Indiana Pacers down the street. On the morning of the game, there were some positive COVID tests in the Gonzaga party, so they canceled the game. And both coaches said yesterday perhaps that's a blessing they didn't play, because it makes this even that much more special, meeting for the first time this year with the national title at stake.
I agree with that.
Nemhard, the last foul, his first. Mitchell went right by Ayayi and then threw it away. He thought Flagler was going to move toward the corner. Well, he didn't have a single turnover against Houston the other night. He had 11 assists and no turnovers. Davion Mitchell against the Cougars.
And he was a little upset right there. His teammate didn't go to the right spot.
Yeah, he didn't think he should have had a turnover there. Suggs a nice drive. And Gonzaga trying to chip away. Largest deficit 19. They're within 15 now.
You want to get it to 10. If you're there right now, you'd like to get at halftime at least down only 10. And they've been back from that. They were down 12 against BYU at the half and came back and won by 10. That means they outscored them by 22 in the second half. They're a very explosive team. Played a little zone matchup right here.
They're trying to protect Suggs with the foul trouble. Teague in trouble now. Shot clock about to run out. Desperation three by Mitchell. Timmy and Thamba, a held ball. It'll be Gonzaga ball.
Watch Suggs right now, changing direction. Oh no, a little turnover right here. Gets it back. Now he's going to go right to the goal with the left hand. Strong to the goal. He was a tremendous
in high school. And Mr. Basketball.
Wow.
In the state of Minnesota. Player ever to do that. Was highly recruited to be a quarterback in college football, but elected to play back. Hard to argue with that decision. Most think he'll be a top next NBA draft.
Oh, it's a miracle if he's not. I'll tell you this, Sean. Think about these numbers that I'm going to tell you. Baylor led 45-20 at the half against the Houston, right? They're up 45-20. My math tells me thus far in the first 4 matchups, they're 80-40 on the opposition. 80-40.
Joel Ayayi, the free throw shooter, as Baylor is over the limit. Fouls. Ayayi from France, from Bordeaux, France, redshirt junior. These are his first points of the night. He had a career high 20 UCLA.
Yeah, he was terrific against UCLA. Kept them right in that game. Zone this time because of Suggs foul trouble. But if you give them open shots, getting the gaps and seams, this club's going to make them.
Flagler right on cue, buries the three.
Tough to zone them. Tough to zone them.
They have so many three-point shooters. Nice move by Kispert. He scored with the floater. There are 5 players on this Baylor team who shoot 39% or better from beyond the arc and average at least 1 3-point field goal made per game.
Yeah, they get some multiple weapons.
Bad pass picked off by Corey Kidd. And it's a dunk for Ayayi, and here within 12.
Baby, they're too explosive. They're too explosive, and they're so much better than what we witnessed here early in this game. There's the little turnover. There goes the break. Up and away. Here go the Zags as Sean Zags are back in the game, baby.
Potent Gonzaga offense starting to find a rhythm. They're the highest scoring team in the country. And they're shooting 55%. To put that in some perspective, the last team to shoot 55% for a season was Michigan back in 88-89. And they won the national championship. Those 49 points per game in the paint, most by any team in the last 15 years. It is an offensive machine that has struggled tonight against this terrific Baylor defense.
You know, also, that's not there, Sean. 18 assists per game, leads the nation. So that means they share the ball looking for the open guy. Very explosive team, and they can get back quickly.
Unselfish. They cut beautifully without the ball, but Baylor's taken them out of a lot of that rhythm. It was a 19-point lead. It's down to 12. Maceo Teague from the elbow. Big bucket. Trying to stop the Gonzaga momentum.
Teague did a great job getting the opening seam of the zone. The 2-3 slid right behind the front two guys. He got a wide open look.
Wide open look for Suggs. Long with the three. Rebounded by Butler. 3 minutes to go in the first half of this national championship game. Wow. Teague, another three.
Wow, 3 balls. Man, they let the 3 fly like you cannot believe. There's so many weapons.
Now the lead right back up to 17. It looked like Gonzaga might get it to single digits at the half. Nice cut and score by Corey Kispert. Senior from Edmonds, Washington in the Seattle area. First team All-American. West Coast Conference Player of the Year.
Tremendous job moving without the ball. Timmy found Kispert. They've been a dynamite duo as well. Look at that wide open area by the foul line. See how wide open that is? They're not used to playing that zone.
It's even more wide open as Teague takes one step back.
I don't believe he can stay in the zone. I really don't believe he can stay in the zone. I know he's trying to protect Suggs. They get too many open shots.
Nembhard step back 3, well short. Ayayi got it back. Nembhard is fouled by Chachua.
Here's the zone. Watch the open area. Wide open in that foul line area. They slide a guy right in that lane and get a little 15-foot shot. There's the zone right here again. Take a look. Wide open, Mr. McDonough. Wide open.
Yeah, that's been a criticism of Scott Drew over the years. He's a terrific recruiter, not necessarily a great tactician. And Mark Few blew that out of the water at his press conference yesterday. He said Scott Drew is a phenomenal basketball coach in the X and O part of it, in addition to everything else. Vital back in. Chachua called for the foul. And he has 3.
I agree with Coach Few. There's no doubt about it. This guy can coach. Anybody that doesn't believe he can coach, they haven't watched his teams play. They're well schooled in every way. Offensively, defensively, special situations, as is certainly Mark Few's teams.
As we mentioned, they're 2 close friends. Scott Drew said yesterday that they'd been sending each other a text before every game of the tournament when the other team was playing, wishing them well, saying they were offering a prayer for their team. Scott Drew said, I'm not going to send Mark Few that text tonight. He's not praying for the Zags to win this one against his Baylor Bears. Timmy, nice spin move, and he's fouled. Scott Drew doesn't like it, nor does the Baylor contingent there in Lucas Oil Stadium. Only about 8,000 fans in the 70,000 seat building for COVID protocols.
Timmy's tough to handle one-on-one inside. He has such great footwork.
Double bonus now. Vitals fouled his first. Timmy is 69% free throw shooter.
You're hoping and praying, if you're a Gonzaga fan, and certainly if you're Mr. Few, you're hoping you can get this to 10 or less going in at halftime.
One of the best players in the country, Drew Timme, their leading scorer and rebounder, 19.7 rebounds per game. Won the Karl Malone Award as the best power forward in college basketball this year.
Kispert won the award as the best small forward in college basketball.
That's right. Julius Erving Award.
Right there with the point guards.
Jared Butler, 1 minute to go in the half. Vital all alone off a nifty setup by Jared Butler.
Well, Butler attacked that zone. He saw a gap and seam in the zone. He drives right through it. They give help on the ball, and he immediately gets a layup.
Sloppy possession. A couple times it looked like Gonzaga might lose the ball. Suggs down the lane. Blocking foul called. And that means the bucket will count for Jalen Suggs. And Vital has his second foul. So fouls piling up in the front court for Baylor.
How big was this basket by this young superstar? He jumped on that unbelievable table, a la Kobe Bryant, he said, a la Dwayne Wade, and he was celebrating big time after his 33-foot shot to win that game against UCLA, a tenacious UCLA team who we want to give a tribute to for the great tournament that Mick Cronin and his kids had.
And phenomenal as a number 11 seed, the future bright for them. So Suggs has 6, and now 7. He'll leave to avoid getting that third foul here in the final 38 seconds of the half. Aaron Cook has replaced him. And then Cook, as they go back to man-to-man, picks up Davion Mitchell. They're in no hurry. They'll take the clock down. There is time for Gonzaga to get the ball back. About 8 seconds difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Mitchell trying to go to work now. Pulls up for a long 3, air ball. And it's a shot clock violation.
Good job defensively. You know, Sean, Baylor's got 7 threes. The most ever made in a tournament, 12 in 1996. Against a team that you're familiar with. Syracuse. Kentucky against Syracuse with 12.
So 8.4 to go. And they can get it down to 10, or as you said, Dick, maybe even to single digits with a 3.
They should get a shot.
Largest lead was 19 for Baylor.
They should get a
Gonzaga
shot.
has not led. They get a 2 on the lay-in by Anton Watson. And it'll be a 10-point game at the break.
I think it's a victory in a way, only being down 10 the way they played early in this game. I really do. And remember this, they were down 12 to BYU and won by 10. 7 for 12, shooting a 3.
As you said, the championship game record, 12 3-point field goals made. Seven out of 12 from 3-point range for Baylor. They shot 50% overall. Gonzaga shot 54.5. Tracy Wilson.
Well, Coach, they were able to make a run down the stretch there, but how were you able to disrupt this offense, holding them to just 37 points in the first half?
Well, we did a good job early, and then after that, they really we knew they'd make a run. Obviously, this game's a 40-minute game, but they got too many in transition on us. We got to do a much better job getting back. We did an offensive rebound as well in the last 10 minutes, and then we got to get to the free throw line. So we got to find a way to get there.
How much does your foul trouble concern you?
It concerns me. It concerns me more them on the free throw line and us not, though. So we got to do a good job guarding without fouling, and then we got to get some free throws.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I think that's a tactful way of saying he's a little frustrated by the officiating. His team shot only 2 free throws. Gonzaga shot 13 and made 12. 9-2 run to end the half for Gonzaga. Baylor by 10 at halftime in this national championship game.
Well, the Zags, as you just heard, cut it to 10, but an impressive first half from the Baylor Bears. Jack is standing by to break it all down next.
They call him everyday John. Comes to play every day.
Mitchell, nice pull up, and he scores over Aaron Cook. Butler for 3.
Wow. Wow. What a start, Sean. What a start.
Another attempt for three, and another three made by Jared Butler.
Wide open. Can't leave these guys wide open like that, Sean.
Splash Plays of the Day are brought to you by the
So this was just the fourth time that Gonzaga was held under 40 points in the first half this season. In each of the three previous games, they scored at least 45 in the second half. Against West Virginia is one of just two games this season by fewer than 10 points. Of course, the other one being Saturday night when they won that thriller in OT. So, Jack, I just got to ask, you see the stats there. Zags clearly needing a huge second half here. What do they got to do to get back into this game? Win their first title.
Moment of truth has arrived. I don't care if you're tired or not. You got to guard the ball better. Okay, you got to keep the ball in front of you. You got to guard the three better. All right. Secondly, you got to defend in your tail on the offensive glass. And thirdly, you got to be tougher with the ball. Those are the things you have to do here in the and you got to come out in the first 5 minutes and you got to set the tone right here and get this thing to make this a ball game, make this a possession game. On a situational basketball, time and score, who's the better team? But you got to take the initiative. You got to create it.
And
I'm ready. Here we go.
That's fired up. He's had too much green tea. Just calm down.
Pack of green tea right here.
I know. We're going to get it to you in just a moment. Now, on the other side, Baylor, I mean, they've been so impressive. What's the first thing you need to see from this team, Jack?
Keep the ball moving, right? Attack the dribble. You've beaten them into the paint. Keep those open threes. Aggressive on the defensive end. All right, and last, get on the offensive glass. You have the advantage there.
All right, let's get you back to Lucas Oil Stadium and join Sean McDonough, Dick Vitale.
Rebounded by Flo Thamba, denied by Drew Timme. Mark Vital, the other in the half for Scott Drew. This 5 game for Baylor this year. With 6 to shoot, Butler buries a three.
You know, Butler gets the three, Sean, but why did he get it? The offensive rebound. The offensive rebound created that opportunity.
Easy pass. Middle of the lane cleared out for Joel Ayayi. 6 points for Ayayi, who averages 12 per game.
He's such an unsung hero. He and Nemhart do such a solid job. And one of the reasons they're 31-0.
1 minute gone by. How about the depth on that?
Does he got that from Bloomington, man? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? What range they have as shooters?
And a bad pass by Timme, but Butler couldn't keep it. Clanged off his hands right for the easy basket.
Suggs with great hands. That was a tough catch to make, but he's got great hands, great agility. He's going to be a star at the next level, at the NBA level. He'll be a top 5 draft.
Boy, nice cut by Thamba, but then he missed a shorty. Gonzaga hasn't been able to shoot in transition much. They did there. Open three. 3-on-2. Baylor the other way to the goal, and he laid it in.
What a terrific basket right there, going coast to coast. Damian Mitchell does it all. Defends, scores, shoots the three, drives the basketball.
Thamba called for the foul. He thought he had poked it away, and it was going to lead his team, but he gets called for the foul.
Take a look at Mitchell right here. Look at this, Sean. He splits the defense with great explosiveness. Goes right to the gut of the defense and attacks the rim.
Off the inbound, Nemhart missed the three. Not a great three-point shooter, just 33%. But he made a big one late in that win against UCLA. Thamba grabbed by Kispert. It looked like he hurt his left shoulder trying to go in there and deny the big, strong Flo Thamba, who stands 6'10" and weighs 245. Kispert's going to come out of the game.
Go to the free throw line. Kispert's been a winner of the Julius Erving Award as the best small ball.
What a winner, Dick. These are the third and fourth free throw attempts of the night for Baylor. Thamba missed. Corey Kispert. This is his 137th game for Gonzaga. He's a senior. They're 126-10 entering tonight in games in which he has appeared. That's a 92.6 winning percentage. The ESPN stats tells us more than 10,000 players have played at least 100 games in Division I basketball over the last 25 years, and Corey Kispert is the winningest player by percentage in the last 25 years. Suggs down the lane.
He's got a winner's mentality. Look at Suggs driving the basketball right down the lane, using the left hand.
2.5 gone by. Second half, Baylor led by 10 at the break. They widened it to 13.
Look, Gonzaga's going to come back and win that game. They're going to start to defend. They're going to have to defend and take away shot opportunities.
Teague finds an open Vital. That's not his game. He missed a 3. He's 0 for 6 for the year now. But the shot clock was running out, so he had to shoot it. Timmy, nice dish. Suggs, and count it. And Thamba just picked up his 4th foul.
Suggs very strong with the basket inside. The one thing, Thamba with 4, they still got Chachua to come in and replace him. Strong drive by Suggs. What a
3.
player. Love his emotion. Love his passion.
Yeah, he's special. Jalen Suggs, that's the word among many that Mark Few keeps using to describe his freshman. So Thamba to the bench with 4 fouls. As Dick said, he splits time with Jonathan Chachua. But Chachua has 3 fouls.
Got to get a stop here. Got to try to get to single digits. It's been double digits for a long, long time. The deficit.
Yeah, it was 11-1 for Baylor right out of the gate. Basically been a double-figure game throughout. Butler an air ball. Last touch by Chachua.
13-4 the last time it was single digits. Our stat guy is right on top of it. Oh, man, Ed doing the job.
Suggs, how about that move to the bucket? But the layup too high off the glass. It wouldn't drop. ACO Teague shut off by Timmy. Timmy at 6'10", defending on the perimeter. Teague missed the step back. Kispert back into the game. Rebounded. Nembhard had trouble on the dribble, and he lost it.
Lost the ball. Tell you one thing about Suggs. He's a tremendous penetrator. He attacks off the bounce really well. Great first step. He's going to have to work on being a better perimeter shooter. And he will. Having the time and effort in the NBA, I guarantee you he becomes a good perimeter shooter.
More than 4 minutes gone by. There'll be immediate timeout on the next break. Chachua had it poked away by Watson. Scott Drew thought there could have been a foul there called against Gonzaga. To rally and win the national championship and finish undefeated, they'll have to pull off the largest comeback in NCAA championship game history. They were down by 19 tonight. The biggest deficit ever overcome was Loyola of Chicago back in 1963. Down by 15 at one point to Cincinnati, won in overtime. And Kentucky trailed Rick Majerus' Utah team by 12 in 1998 and came back for victory.
Yeah, Tubby won that national title. Tubby Smith took over for Rick Pitino. Pitino won the title in 96, lost in overtime to Arizona in 97. And in 98, Tubby Smith cut the nets down.
Gonzaga hasn't been able to get it down to single digits in this half, and it is a beautiful play off the inbounds. Flagler to Chachua.
What a great two-man play right there. Chachua's got 3 fouls. They should attack him, try to get the 4th.
They double-team Kispert. Underneath it goes to Watson, and he's hit by Matthew Meyer.
They get such really good play on a Flagler off the bench. There he is, the Chachua. The bottom line is those two guys came off the bench. That's what they bring off the bench, along with Meyer. 3 quality players.
Colin Myers first. Watson, 64% free throw shooter. Timmy returns. Ayayi goes to the bench for the Zags. Watson, sophomore from Spokane, Washington, which is the home of Gonzaga University. He attended Gonzaga Prep for his high school. Trying to win a national championship for his hometown university. Mitchell. Teague.
Nice fake.
Nembhard ran out to deny the open 3, and now Timmy, a little touch foul on the perimeter.
Sean, the one thing they've been unable to get it down with single digits. It's been absolutely, the only time with single digits was 13-4. Mark Few's club, every seems to make a little run, and all of a sudden a big basket, a big play by Baylor.
2 fouls on Timmy. 5 minutes played, second half. Baylor has led throughout by as many as 19. They've made 9 threes. Davion Mitchell, little floater, wouldn't go. Nembhard managed to save it to Watson. Suggs the push. Ran into traffic. And the officials blowing the whistles with regularity. So it's hard to argue with any of the fouls they've called. That's 4 now on Tchamwa Tchatchoua, so that's a big problem. He divides time with Thamba at the 5, and they both have 4 fouls. So really the only big body dick inside now for them is Vital, and he's not as tall as Tchamwa Tchatchoua and Thamba. He's just 6'5", but very strong.
Very strong player. They're playing Meyer on the inside as well. Meyer's more like a wing player.
Nembhard, nice move. Couple of fakes. And the second team all-conference player in the West Coast Conference this year out of Aurora, Ontario, Canada. Has them into single digits for the first time in this half.
Yeah, Nembhard come out of Canada, really doing a great job transferring from out of the University of Florida. He's been a great addition to this team. This is not a very deep team. They only go to Watson and Cook off the bench.
Butler, beautiful feed to Vital, and he laid it in. Kispert couldn't get there in time. Very nice night for Jared Butler. 16 points, 5 assists, nearly a held ball, and then Timmy threw it to Watson, who couldn't handle it. Butler takes a hit from Nembhard, and he'll shoot 2.
You know, you're trying to come from behind, Sean. You work so hard trying to come from behind. You get into single digits, and you leave a guy wide open. Look at this, wide open. That's a layup. You cannot do that if you're trying to come from behind.
Nembhard's foul, his second. There's Butler. Made his last 5 free throws, and now 6.
He's the star of stars. There's no doubt about it right now. He's the star of stars thus far in this game.
Well, certainly a candidate to be the most outstanding player of the Final 4. He had 17 in the semi against Houston. He has 18 tonight.
This is very unselfish, Sean. He's always looking for the open man as well.
Timmy, that was easy. Again, without those big bodies inside. Thamba 6'10". Tchamwa Tchatchoua 6'8". They're both on the bench with 4 fouls.
I'll tell you one thing. Timmy does a great job again post position. He uses his footwork so well, so efficient.
Maceo team ran into Timmy.
Are you serious? Are you serious? What a drive down the lane. They beat you off the bounce, one-on-one.
Block shot by Vital. Flagler's open.
Oh, wow. Look at Drew. Headline, Sean. He's doing a little dance, a little celebration. I don't blame him. Wow, it's up to 16.
Adam Flagler, the latest three. That's the championship game record for threes made.
What a drive by Teague right there to make that score. Then look at this, the block shot. And they're going to come up the other way. And Flagler with the three. Nothing. That bench is so productive.
Well, the Drew family starting to feel it. Homer Drew, Scott's dad, Bryce Drew, Scott's brother. All three of them at one time the head coach at Valparaiso. Scott coached for his dad for 9 years before he became the head coach for one, and now at Baylor. They're up by 14 now in the national championship game after the bucket by Joel Ayayi. The quick counter by Jared Butler, denied by Timmy. And then Vital had the ball, and Nembhard fouled him.
You know, you talk about the Drew family. What a great family. Homer Drew's a cancer survivor. He's helped us raise money for the V Foundation. His brother Bryce had a tough run down at Vanderbilt. Makes the transition, goes to Grand Canyon, takes him to the NCAA tournament this year. He made one of the great shots in college basketball in the tournament when Valpo beat Mississippi, and he made a dramatic shot.
Good buzzer beater to win the game on a play called Pacer, playing for his dad. Bryce's first year at Grand Canyon in Phoenix, Arizona, had the Lopes in this NCAA tournament. Flagler, wide left from the corner with a three ball. Gonzaga's made only one three-pointer tonight. They averaged 7.5 makes from beyond the arc for the year. That's the difference in the game. Baylor's 10 out of 19 from three-point range, and Gonzaga 1 for 8. They've been outscored the Zags by 27 points from three-point line.
And you don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to figure that out either. You know, 9 different threes. What a differential that is. As you said, 27 points.
Wild layup by Suggs. Under 12 to go. 14-point lead. There's another wide open Baylor player. And then Kisper came out of nowhere to deny Butler. And Butler has another chance, and Timmy fouled him. That'll be the third on Drew Timmy.
What a terrific play by the Julius Erving Player of the Year. Small forward. What a block shot by Kispert. They came back with the ball. Now watch this. The rotation over. There's the block shot. Thou shalt not bring it in the lane, he says. And look at him back.
Along with the Basketball Hall of Famer Dick Vitale, I'm Sean McDonough. Delighted to have you with us in more than 200 countries around the world, watching the national championship game in men's college basketball for the 2020-21 season. Baylor leading Gonzaga 67-53. Both teams trying to win the first basketball title in school history. Gonzaga trying to do it in undefeated fashion. Jared Butler makes the first of two.
And it's amazing. They had the block shot by Kispert. Tremendous effort. And they come up and they're going to end up probably with 2 if he converts this.
Big night for the junior from Reserve, Louisiana. And on the east bank of the Mississippi River, same hometown as former Baylor basketball stars Tweety Carter, Rico Gathers. Timmy called for an offensive foul. Big call there. Matthew Meyer took the hit. And that's 4 fouls on Timmy, so 1 more and he is out of the game.
I don't think you can take him out of the game, Doug. I think you got to play him right now, Sean. I think you got to keep him in the game. Buller's got 20. Teague's got 16. Flagler's got 11. They're taking him out.
4 fouls on Timmy. He's also committed 5 turnovers tonight. That was a borderline call for sure. Butler, some fancy dribbling, trying to get past Suggs. Matthew Meyer from the free throw line. And it's back up to 18, 1 shy of their biggest lead of the night.
Hey, one thing, that fancy dribbling led and created an opportunity for Meyer. Meyer's really terrific off the bench. I can't praise their bench enough. Flagler, Meyer, and Chanwa Cha-Cha.
Still just 1 3 tonight for Gonzaga. They're 1 out of 9. Just can't get anybody open.
I don't think
Baylor now, Dick will be a little more deliberate. Well, nearly midway through the second half, runs some clock. Watson guilty of a reach-in foul. And that puts Gonzaga over the limit, so Baylor will be shooting on every Gonzaga foul the rest of the way.
Look at the body language right now. Body language not good at all. You can tell in a lot of sports. You can tell by the body language who's really smart. You can see the frustration and the disappointment right now on the faces of the Gonzaga kids. 31-0. Many people thought that this would be the year that a team would catch Bob Knight and Indiana and go undefeated. But Baylor says, oh, really? We're pretty good. And, wow, they are good.
Mitchell makes two. He's another candidate to be the most outstanding player of this Final Four. Biggest lead of the season, biggest deficit. Biggest lead of the game, I should say, for Baylor, and biggest deficit of the season for Gonzaga. Back to 17 as Suggs drives home just their second three. Wonder how long Timmy will stay on the bench. They're in desperation time now.
Absolutely, Sean. There's no doubt he's going to come back on the floor. Can't worry about foul trouble.
Butler much quicker than Watson, who forced him to take a backup three. And Watson stripped by Mitchell. Watson saying that was a foul, but the officials do not concur.
I thought he got fouled on that play, but again, I'm in Lakewood Ranch, Florida. I'm not in Indianapolis.
I thought he got right across
hammered.
the arm.
I thought he got hammered.
Kispert missed the three. One of the best three-point shooters in the country. 44.5%. That's fifth best in the United States. But Kispert just 1 out of 5 from three-point land tonight.
Okay, one thing Baylor really defends. They're one of the top defensive teams in America. When you combine that with the ability to shoot the three the way they do, that's a combination for success.
9.5 to go. Thamba fouled by Watson, who isn't happy with the call or the lack of a call at either end. And Thamba back in the game with 4 fouls. Will shoot 2.
Mark Few's going to be a little disappointed. So much at stake here tonight. Thamba rotating with Chamwa Chachawa. Nice combination inside. 2 players share that minutes in the post.
Thamba from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Has lived around the world. England, France, South Africa. Came to this country, the United States, in 2014 with help from Bismack Biyombo with the Charlotte team in the NBA, also from the Congo. Nembhard surrounded. Gets it to Suggs for 3. Do they have enough in the tank? 16-point game, 9 minutes to go.
You know, you mentioned Thamba, Sean. He and Chamwa Chachawa know their roles. They know what their roles are. They know their roles not to score big, but to do a lot of the dirty work inside, to set screens. Like here comes a big screen right now. They know what they're doing on the floor. Each player has their role designed, and they really take advantage of it.
And a Baylor foul will send it to the other end. Just their 15th foul of the half, so not yet the bonus. And Timmy getting some work done. Still on the sideline with 4 fouls. The foul was on Thamba, so he is fouled out with 3 points off from the free throw line and 6 rebounds.
And a physical presence on the inside. Make the job as tough as possible on Timmy to score.
Nembhard into the lane. He's fouled.
I think Vital was called with the foul.
Vital,
That was
his
third or
third.
fourth.
That's his third. Tchamwa Tchatchoua has 4.
Unless they find a miracle and start making some threes and convert their free throws, there'll be no chance to be 32-0. They got to make some threes.
Nembhard misses both free throws. Can't do that in this situation. Down by 16. 8.5 to go.
You got to convert those. You got to make those count. The clock's not moving. You got to score.
It does look like Baylor's trying to be a little more deliberate now on offense. Don't want to take yourself out of a rhythm, but obviously the clock is your friend as we approach 8 minutes to go. With a 16-point lead. Myers out of bounds as he took the bounce pass from Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell didn't make a good choice right there. You give him the ball out of bounds. That's not really a good choice. Finding, well, he took some time off the clock. That's the positive in that possession.
I wonder if Timmy will come back. There'll be a timeout on the next whistle. Timeout under the 8-minute mark.
I was thinking exactly the same thing, Sean.
He's your leading scorer and rebounder. You need him in the game. You got to take the chance. Ayayi. The Baylor people didn't think that was a foul. They called it on. And both teams are over the limit of the long. That looked pretty clean.
March Madness coverage on TSN. The all-new course.
Junior from Reserve, Louisiana. Knight, the first unanimous first-team All-American in Baylor basketball history, and showing why with this performance.
Finding open people, scoring. He's been a PT player, man, a prime-time performer. He's been solid goal. He's been the 3S man. Super scintillating and sensational. Oh, they're going to love him in Waco. Man, that pen is going to be going wild if they continue this.
Quite possibly the most Final Four if it stays this way. 17 in the semi against Houston. And he has found a three-point stroke. Not a part of his game in the first 4 games of this NCAA tournament. Impressive young man. He's going to graduate in May. In 3 years, less than 3 years, he arrived in August of 2018. He'll get a degree in business management. He's a Sunday school teacher. He's their student athlete rep on the advisory for the NCAA. And perhaps about to be a national champion. Under 7.5 to go. The ball and a 16-point lead for the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, one thing, Sean, he also was not a McDonald's All-American. He made himself into an All-American.
Mitchell missed the 3. He's certainly a candidate for most outstanding player. In these 2 games, 15 assists and just 2 turnovers. Corey Kispert knocks home a 3. Just his second. He had a rough 3-point shooting night against UCLA as well. 2 for 8. They need him to catch fire down the stretch.
And the team was 3 for 12 until he made that one to go 4 for 13.
Bruce Timmy back in the game for Gonzaga, playing with the 4 fouls. Let's see if Teague goes right at him. He does. Vital the offensive rebound.
And
Flagler fouled by Nembhard. And that's 4 fouls on Nembhard. So foul trouble on both sides.
Tell you one thing, a kid like Vital, you'll not find him in a box score, but is he needed on the floor? Offensive rebounds, defensive stops, loose balls, all the stuff that leads to winning.
Flagler. He's on fire at the free throw line. That is 16 in a row that he's made.
That's pretty good. 16 in a row is pretty good, Sean.
Sat out last year as a transfer. He said, boy, did I get a lot better, particularly defensively, having to guard guys like Butler and Mitchell and Teague every day in practice. Butler back in for Flagler. 6.5 to go.
Wow. So you bring Butler in, you take Flagler out. Pretty good combination. Unbelievable.
Kispert called for a travel. Going to shoot a three. He was afraid it might get blocked. Tried to pull it down. Didn't get away with it.
A little better shooting a three now. They were 1 for 9 to start the game.
12 turnovers for Gonzaga.
You know, it's been wire to wire.
Intentional foul here. Suggs was about to have the steal and was ahead of Jared Butler. Bo Borowski signals intentional foul. And it happened before that part of the replay that you saw.
They took away the layup. It's going to make him make free throws.
It was pretty clear cut. Suggs makes the free throw.
Get possession of the ball as well.
That's huge. Only 1 out of 2.
He goes 1 out of 2. Nembhard goes 0 for 2. You go 1 for, what is that, 1 for 4?
There was the foul. So with the intentional foul call, Gonzaga the free throws and the ball. They are running out of time. 6 minutes to go. Kispert clearly bothered by the defense of Mitchell, the best defensive player in the country. Timmy, tough shot. He knew it was short as soon as he released it. And it'll go over to the Baylor Bears out of bounds.
You know, Sean, wasn't it really, you saw Mitchell rotate over right in the face of Kispert. Said, if you're going to beat me off the bounce, fine, but you're not going to get the open three. So he took away the 3 ball right away from him.
Just to get it over in 10 seconds. Floater for Maceo Teague. The lead is 16. Under 5.5 to go. Suggs. Boy, Ayayi knocked down by his own man, Timmy, and Ayayi's hurt. It's been that kind of a night for Gonzaga. And at the other end, Teague is fouled. There were 2 zags there.
He's hurting. He's been a terrific player. He's been underrated. He's been a solid player all year for Gonzaga. Ayayi.
Well, that right leg bent very awkwardly back as he got tangled up with his teammate. Wow.
Yeah, not a good look.
And he limps off, clearly in a lot of pain. Might be the end of his season for the redshirt junior from Bordeaux, France. Said he came to Gonzaga because of their history of success with foreign players. And Killian Tilly from France was a part of that team in 2017 that lost in the title game in North Carolina. Suggs' 3rd foul. Both teams in the bonus. The lead is 17. Largest lead was 20. Where they have stymied this Gonzaga offense with their quickness, athleticism. So well coached as well. Another takeaway, 5 minutes away. The Baylor Bears from the national championship if they can avoid a collapse. There's nothing about the way this is going that would indicate they're going to relinquish this big lead. They've been in control throughout the night.
They've been wire to wire. And the one thing about them, they're so multi-talented. They're so versatile as well. And their guard combination is the best in America.
And a shot clock violation. Well, they took 30 seconds off the clock. Right now, that clock seems like it's ticking very quickly if you're Mark Few. Number 1 team in the country throughout from preseason till today. Nembhard's pass very high but deflected. And the only thing left for Mark Few and Gonzaga to do is win the national championship. They've dominated their conference 4 times now, a number 1 seed, 2 appearances to the title game. But this has not been their night. Kispert remains cold from beyond the arc.
I really believe what you said earlier, my friend, when you said that prior to COVID, they're undefeated. They lose 2 games when they come back from that. They struggle, and now they're back to their A game. They showed that A game against Houston as well.
Mitchell the bucket. Kispert nicely done with the left. We talked, Dick, at the beginning of the telecast that this would be one of the great program rebuilding jobs in the history of college athletics, not just basketball. The mess that Scott Drew inherited, tragic. Baylor basketball player had murdered one of his teammates before Scott Drew arrived. In the investigation had all kinds of NCAA violations were discovered. It was an absolute disgrace, a tremendous tragedy, and people thought Scott Drew was crazy to take the job. He said, I could see the potential. I knew it would take a while. Reason to smile tonight. They have dominated this national championship game throughout, have never trailed, led 11-1 right out of the gate, led by as many as 19 in the first half. And what a job by Scott Drew. In the 97 years before he arrived as head coach, they had 3 20-win seasons. They've been to 4 tournaments, but they haven't been to an NCAA tournament in 53 years. They were in 2 Final Fours back in 1948 and 1950. In 18 years with them, 12 20-win seasons. This is the 9th NCAA tournament. As we said, he inherited a program back in 2003 that was coming off the murder of one player by another, the resignation of the coach, all kinds of violations discovered. And Scott Drew was smart. When he negotiated, he said wherever the penalties are, and Baylor self-imposed 3 years of a ban on postseason player and scholarship reductions. The NCAA added to that. He negotiated a 6-year deal, Dick, and the deal was my contract doesn't start until the penalties are over. So essentially, he gave himself about 10 years, knowing it would take a long time.
He made a great deal in getting them. You know, since you mentioned Scott, let's mention also Jerome Tang, an assistant coach, Alvin Brooks, another assistant moving on to the pros, John Jacobs, another assistant coach, Jared Nunes, special assistant director of basketball development, Bill Peterson, Adiva Malhotra, director of basketball operations, and Ty Beard. All of them together have united. He's such a likable guy. I'm telling you, you can't help to like this guy and to wish him the best. You could say the same for Mark Few as well.
They're about to be the first Big 12 conference team since Kansas in 08 to win the year for the Big 12.
2008, Chalmers with the big 3 was unbelievable when they didn't foul him down in Memphis. John Calipari's team, Derrick Rose and company. Game is in the books, my friend, unless you got it that I don't know about, because this game is going to Baylor.
Gonzaga team averaging more than 91 points per game. Baylor, the team, perhaps as well, with the different types of games these in the semi-Saturday night. Baylor had a cakewalk against Houston. Gonzaga had the ultimate epic struggle against UCLA.
You know, we're going to hear a lot of that. There's no question, Sean. You and I were talking off the air. We're going to hear a lot of that. But let's not forget this. This Baylor team was much more. They were quicker to the ball. They were aggressive right from. Dominated right out of the gate to go up 29-10. They came here and played with purpose. Getting guys off the dribble like we just witnessed right there.
Davion Mitchell. 4 assists in the NCAA tournament. Suggs, open layup. Gonzaga 26 points below its season average. And they're starting to celebrate in the stands, those clad in green, and you bet that the party has begun in Waco. Baylor University has won only one national championship in men's sports, and that was in men's tennis in 2004.
Wow.
It's Suggs, the lay-in.
How did you
10 national championships in all the others by all 3 times, equestrian once, and acrobatics and tumbling, 5 national championships.
Certainly want to give a little tribute
Gonzaga to its season low. If it stays this way, their season low is.
Let's give a little tribute out to Gonzaga for the great year they had to go 31-0 to come into this game. Mark Few and his kids were phenomenal all year, proving once again how difficult it is to go unbeaten. The last unbeaten team was 1976. This guy's been a credit to coaching. He's really very fraternity and a terrific guy, and I say thank you for the memories this year from this Gonzaga team, but tonight belongs to Baylor.
That's well said. And Mark Few, there's not a better person in coaching. Amazing program there in Spokane. They continue to recruit very well. You have to think they'll continue to be a factor, but it's hard to get to the championship game, and they'll be 0-2 now in the last 4 years. And now the bench. Baylor. I want everybody to be able to say they played in the national championship game. Kispert comes out. That's Tommy Lloyd, longtime assistant with the Hugs.
Sean, who do you give the MVP? Do you give it to Mitchell or do you give it to Butler?
You know, as much as Butler has scored in these 2 games, I think Mitchell's the guy who does it. You know, he's such a great decision maker with the ball. I think he's been the bigger factor at both ends.
I wouldn't have an argument with either one. They're both really deserving. Biggest trophies going home to the team, and that's the only one that counts.
Suggs in tears. What a dramatic turnaround in emotion in 48 hours. Probably his last game. Everybody thinks he'll be one and done ahead of the NBA draft. It'll be a high pick. That's Dominic Harris into the game for Gonzaga. Loveday is in. L.J. Cryer in. Butler goes out. He has another if he'll use it.
This has really suffered when you look at Gonzaga. They gave up 90 in overtime, when you think about it, to UCLA, and 86 tonight. So their defense has not been superb throughout the tournament. And you got to play defense if you want to be a national champ.
Julian Strawther off the bench. Freshman, highly recruited. He'll be back. He made the 3. And both coaches, Dick, made it a point to salute the NCAA, often criticized. But in this instance, to be able to get in, play the Final Four in a bubble, and have it go off as smoothly as it did, kudos to Dan Gavitt. Mark Few said he's the hero of this tournament. Final 3 seconds. Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history. In scandal and disgrace 2 decades ago, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew. And they did it in dominant fashion against a previously undefeated Gonzaga team that had been hammering just about everybody, winning by an average of 22 points per game.
On a terrific performance right out of the gate. They wasted no time like they did against the outstanding Houston team. Came here, and I really believe what you said earlier. If they didn't have COVID-19, they might have come in here number 1 in the nation and undefeated.
Well, probably number 2, but we would have had 2 undefeated teams. They were behind Gonzaga all year. But the way they play tonight, it's easy to believe they could have won every game if it wasn't for COVID. The 2 losses were to Kansas and Oklahoma State. Scott Drew calls it a culture of joy. And this is the ultimate joy for a coach and his team. A national championship.
What a feeling. What a feeling. Look at the jubilation. 357 teams started playing this game. And today there's 1 leaving with the big trophy as the national champ.
And a prayer of gratitude and thanks, undoubtedly. Congratulations. What a dominant performance against the team. Some are wondering if Gonzaga would be considered the greatest team of all time, or certainly among them. Well, Baylor was the much better team tonight. Butler at 22, Teague 19, Mitchell at 15, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. Flagler had 13. Suggs led Gonzaga with 22. Timmy and Kispert 12 each, well below their averages. Gonzaga just 5 threes all night long, 29% from beyond the arc tonight, against a Baylor team that did it all year with defense and three-point shooting, and that was the formula again tonight, Dick.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Their defense was superb. They shared the ball. They really loved playing with each other. And they came out here, I thought, with a chip on their shoulder to show everyone, because not many people gave them a chance, Sean. Not many people thought they'd win this game. And they had a different mindset, and they came here with purpose, and they brought a proud feeling to the people of the Big 12.
We mentioned earlier, this is the 5th time since the AP preseason poll began that number 1 in the preseason meant number 2 in the preseason. And now it's 5 for 5. The number 2 team has won all of those championship game matchups. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more from Indianapolis, where the Baylor Bears have won the national championship in men's basketball for the 2020-21 season.
Time now for Ultimate Teammates, brought to you by Expedia, your perfect travel companion. Adam Flagler, lob over to Jonathan, jump on to Chua. He throws down the two-handed slam. Baylor ends Gonzaga's perfect season and win their first championship in men's basketball.
Ultimate Teammates was brought to you by Expedia, your perfect travel companion.
Some breaking news. Some really exciting news. The one and only Jack Armstrong, first place in the TSN Talent Bracket Challenge. Our Laura Dykin, runner-up, so gracious, by the way, texting me to congratulate you on the big victory. And if she was going to lose, she's very proud that it is to you, Jack Armstrong. I have nothing to give you. Unfortunately, you will be receiving...
I have a...
never mind.
This is one of the greatest moments in my life.
Please, your acceptance
seriously,
speech.
I got a stapler. I got staples.
Yes.
Paper towel.
Okay.
And wipies. So it's been, thank you to the good folks at Bell for their generosity and for just winning this great award. It's been one of the great honors of my life. Thank you.
That was so beautiful, Jack. Don't know where
I'm a very humble man.
I know. I mean, you've been bragging.
And by the way, that $3.50 gets me on the subway.
Does it these days? You've been bragging about those Lysol wipes all tournament long, so maybe you can share them with a certain someone. Congratulations on your victory, and congratulations to Baylor winning their first national title ever. And Jack, we've been talking about this all tournament long. By the way, we will get you back to the trophy presentation and everything else in just a moment. But this backcourt of Baylor, the entire tournament, they were sensational. And this one, Teague, Mitchell, and Butler combined for 56 points. The team as a whole shot 55.5 from deep. You can't say enough about these players to play like this on the biggest stage in men's basketball.
Well, your guard play was the difference. You're right. And they combined for 12 assists. They made 7 threes. They were just... that unit dictated terms. I mean, that's the reality of it. The ball movement was sensational, and Gonzaga just couldn't guard well enough off the bounce. They had issues with their perimeter defense. They were a step slow, and quite frankly, this game came down as well to the fact that Gonzaga turned it over 14 times, and they got their tails kicked inside. They gave up 16 offensive rebounds, but it all starts because you have to guard way out, and they stretch out your defensive coverages because they shoot the three so well. They get by on the bounce. Help comes. They make the next pass. They make the next pass. You're scrambling. You're giving up easy shots, and then they're all over you on the offensive glass. I said it all along. when I watch games this year, 1A, 1B, whatever way you want to say, when both teams were healthy and right, Baylor was as good, if not better, than Gonzaga. But these, by far, were the best two teams in college basketball. Now, you could talk a lot about maybe what the UCLA game did to Gonzaga in terms of sapping energy, but Baylor left, no doubt, Kate, in two games against Houston and this game. They kicked both teams, you know what.
They are the deserving champions, undoubtedly. And you know what, too? They started the season 18-0. I mean, the way they started, they had the COVID pause, and then they come back and they're able to run the table at the tournament. And you just knew at some point if they could find what they had at the beginning of the season, they were this dangerous, and they certainly proved that. Now, on the flip side here, too, Jack, I mean, we're looking at the Zags, who end the season 31-1. We were all talking about the perfect season. Will they match the 76 Indiana Hoosiers? They fall short. So question to you is, does that diminish the season that was for Mark Few and his team?
Well, obviously it diminishes it because, you know, the whole goal was to get to the final game and to win it. They've had a great season. Nonetheless, I think when you look at the big picture and where they stand in comparison to other teams that got to this moment, they deserve a great amount of credit. You know, honestly, I mean, you look at some other teams, like to be compared, anybody compare them to the 1976 Indiana Hoosiers, the last team to do it, is not a valid comparison, because college basketball was, guys played 4 years back then. You didn't have guys transferring in and out. There were actual programs. And people forget the fact that if Scott May doesn't get hurt in 1975, Indiana possibly could have gone 2 straight years undefeated. So I don't think Gonzaga's even in that category. But for the college basketball, the way it is now, they've been a great program throughout. They deserve a lot of credit. But a team from the Big 12, they met their match. This team was better than them and absolutely kicked their tail.
You know, we heard it throughout the entire broadcast, too, but just a redemptive story for these Baylor Bears. Back in the early 2000s, I mean, this program was in absolute shambles, and they were right through the broadcast. A lot of people looking at Scott Drew saying, why would you take on this team? Why would you take a team that has gone through so much? Well, my goodness, I know it's been a long, long, long way, all the way back to this championship game, but my goodness, give credit to what Scott Drew, that man, has done with this program.
Well, he's done a remarkable job, and you know, I know his dad, Homer, and they're just a great family, and he's an upbeat guy, positive guy, and he went in there with a good plan. He had contractual security on the front end, and was patient and built things the right way, got good players to go there, and more importantly, you got to get guards. At a place like you know, Baylor, you're not going to get the 5-star big man, but what you can get is legit big-time guards, and then surround them with hard-nosed bigs. I tell you what, Vidal tonight, he had 8 offensive rebounds, okay? Here's the other thing. Their bench totally dictated terms as well, 21-7 plus 14 in that category as well. So the depth, he developed his second unit really well during the course of the season. So, and here's the thing. You know, pound for pound, when you play a tougher schedule per night, I'm a big believer in it. And, you know, and there's not, Gonzaga can't do anything about the conference that they play in. And this was kind of a difficult season. But Baylor was tested on a more regular basis, on a nightly basis in the Big 12 than maybe Gonzaga was. They got exposed tonight.
All right, let's get you to the championship presentation.
Mitch Barnhart is here. He's the chairman of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee. Mitch, congratulations to you and everyone associated with this tournament for how you pulled off this amazing championship here in Indianapolis. And it's time now to present the trophy.
Thank you. On behalf of the NCAA Men's Basketball Committee, we'd like to thank all the people of Indiana for putting on this wonderful tournament. At this time, we'd also like to congratulate Mark Few and the Gonzaga Bulldogs. It is our privilege and honor at this time to award the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Trophy to head coach Scott Drew and the Baylor.
congratulations. Just an incredible beginning to this game. And that up. Put that hands in your... It's all yours. I know you can't hear me. I'm going to get a little bit closer. But tell us about the start to this game.
Well, I can tell you that our guys have been motivated all year. It's a player-led team. We're so blessed to have upperclassmen and leadership. But we a culture of joy, and that's Jesus, others, yourself. They came out and they fed off of each other. Start, and then defensively, we're pretty good.
What did you here tonight? What was the difference here tonight? What was the difference here tonight?
Well, I don't know if there was a difference from the standpoint to COVID. Us and Gonzaga were on the track to be undefeated, and I got so much for Coach Few. He's such a humble servant coach, fame coach, and what they've done this year. Let's give Gonzaga a round of applause for what they did. Let's give them a round of applause. But the war, and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Hey, Coach, this is a program that back in 1948 played the national championship game, had been in the Final Four.
Yeah, we weren't alive.
But the rebound, I called it, and the best in college basketball history. We played the soundbite of you at your introductory press conference saying that you were coming to Waco to win a national championship. And here it is. What did it take to do that?
About it. I felt led. God has blessed us with unbelievable players, the people that put in work, our fans that have been with us good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Texas, we got a national championship too. Deserves it.
It's just a second in men's basketball for the state of Texas with Texas Western. But you look at
when they did a movie, Texas Western,
yes,
Glory Road, and John Lee Hancock promised us a championship. We were getting a movie. Yeah!
Hey, tell what some of the guys did here tonight. Vital hitting the offensive glass. Maceo hitting shots. Davion doing his thing. Butler, we call here tonight the way he was playing. Tell us about that.
Hey, this is what they do. We have a starting rotation, and each night might be someone different, but they've sacrificed for each other all year long. And I've said this, if you're going to be in the bubble for 3-4 weeks, you better be with people. Spending time with these guys 20, 25, 30 years, our enjoy most spending time with them. They're unbelievable people, great basketball players, better people.
Coach, congratulations. I know how much it means to all of you, your family here, back in Indianapolis where you graduated. But you brought Baylor a national championship. Congratulations, Scott Drew and the Baylor Bears, the national champions. One shiny moment still to come in the studio. Will continue.